Where was this?
They're at the event center for the Floresville ISD fundraiser.
Oh, no. We went to Port O'Connor. I forgot about that. Did you go?
Tracy and I,
Did you get tickets from,
Jeff.
okay, from Jeff?
Jeff
Good.
invited us.
Do it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my inkling right now is just to award the Ergon.
Boy,
Because
they dressed that
what
old
we
place
asked
up. It
doesn't really
didn't even
apply
look
to
like the
Ergon.
same place.
Yeah.
They don't have the same material. I
Stuff
mean,
hanging
they're,
from the ceilings and the chandeliers. And, boy, I mean, it was quite a to-do.
Their delivery is pretty much, nope, see, it's the same all the way across the board for everything. So their cost is not in their transportation, their cost is in their product.
Right there?
Oh, he's right there behind us.
Like they're charging us $41 a gallon to deliver it, but it's the same across the board, no matter which precinct you go to. So
Okay, let's get started.
Of those pages anyway.
Okay, it's 9 a.m. Monday, September 26, 2022. Wilson County Commissioners Court is now in session. We'll have the opening prayer by Scotty Malone, chaplain of the Brayhan Masonic Lodge, Lavernia, Texas. Scotty?
Dear Lord, Supreme Grand Master of the universe, we would reverently invoke thy blessing. Will thou be pleased to grant that this meeting, thus begun in order, may be conducted in peace and close in harmony. May we ask at this time that the leaders be given the wisdom to make the fair and just decisions for the good of this community and its citizens, and that the actions conducted today be pleasing in your eyes. These things we ask. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
Honor our Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee,
Texas,
one state, under God, one, indivisible.
Thank you, Scotty. Hey, Jennifer. Okay, moving along to agenda item number 3, public comments.
I have none at this time, Judge.
Okay, now we've got agenda item number 4, certificates of completion and awards. And I've got some that from back in the olden days here. Okay, this is to certify that Eva S. Martinez has attended the Office of the Attorney General Child Support Year 2002 Paternity Seminar on June the 26th, 2002, entitled 3 General Continuing entitled to 3 General Outer and Continued Education Points, Office of the Attorney General. Okay, and this is County and District Clerks Association of Texas, Certificate of Completion awarded to Eva Martinez, Wilson County Clerk, for completing 20 hours of continued education for 2010 as prescribed by Section 51.0605 of the Texas Government Code. Witness, therefore, recognition is hereby given January 2011. Okay. A certificate of appreciation. This certificate is awarded to Eva S. Martinez, County Clerk, Wilson County, in recognition of valuable contributions to CDCAT Procedure Manual Committee, County Clerk, June 12th, 2011. County and District Clerks Association of Texas, Certificate of Completion awarded to Eva Martinez, Wilson County Clerk, for completing the required 20 hours of continuing education for 2011 as prescribed in Section 51.605 of the Texas Government Code. And Certificate of Appreciation, Honorable Eva Martinez, Wilson County Clerk, with deep appreciation, respect, and gratitude of the membership for her support and contributions as Sales Committee member of the County and District Clerks Association of Texas during the 2016-2017 period. Okay. Is there any more?
No, that's,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to agenda item number 5, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, Jim Stewart, County Sheriff. Discuss and take action on setting sheriffs and constable fees for 2023. And I think we've got,
Judge, you may man make note that Larry's not here.
oh, okay. Okay, hang on just a second. For the record, Commissioner Precinct 4, Larry Wiley is absent. Okay, now we're going to the constables and sheriff's fees. We've already announced it.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Oh, okay. Okay. Judge, the sheriff could not be here, but he has had some folks here that will be speaking in behalf of the constable and sheriff's fees. There are handouts for each one of y'all from the sheriff, and then there's also handouts from the constables for y'all. Okay? Mr. Felton, you can go ahead and come forward. Yes, you can come forward.
Yeah, come up here so the people online can hear you.
Good morning. I'm Constable Fowler, Precinct 3, Wilson County. Here to discuss requested changes to the sheriff's and constable's fee schedule for the upcoming fiscal year. You should have handouts. Does anybody not have a handout other than the audience out here? Okay, so there's several items that we're requesting changes on. I'll start with the cover page of the handout. The first item is civil standby. What we would like to see is the first half hour of a constable or a sheriff's deputy performing a civil standby be free the first half hour. That is kind of to help encourage the party that we're doing a civil standby for to speed things along and understand before we begin the civil standby that they've got 30 minutes, it's going to be free, and then after that it'd be $75 per hour per officer. And when I say per hour, per any portion. So if it takes an hour and 5 minutes, that's 2 hours. So any portion of an hour would be an additional $75. First half hour is free, okay? Go ahead.
Okay,
Questions?
yes, I'm looking, where is it?
That's on the cover page of the
Okay.
handout. Item number 1, civil standby. Any questions on that one? Comments?
Do we have the right to charge for a civil standby?
Yes, sir. We've been doing it. We
I
do,
know we've been doing it, but do we have the right to do it? That's just my question.
other agencies do that outside of Wilson County. In fact, I don't know of any agency that doesn't do it. And we only began doing it about a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, when we adopted some changes on this schedule to orders of sale and for writs of possession, okay?
I could see a writ of possession, it's in the, but is a civil standby covered in any of the statutes? That's my only, I don't have any problem with charging it because I know it's a
It's a valid-
something that you have to do, and something that you do for the people, but do we have the right to charge them? That's my only question.
I can't answer that for you, Judge.
Mr.
I
Caldwell?
guess I just assumed it was,
I can answer that. We have the ability to set fees for services that the county provides that are above and beyond the statutory services we're required to provide. We do it all the time.
Okay,
This is very similar to inspection fees that we charge.
makes sense.
Do I have a statute that says that, besides the general statutory authority that counties have under law to set fees for services that we provide? No. But yes, this would fall underneath that.
okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, item number 2, commissionable writ cancellation. In parentheses, currently the only commissionable writ we have to my knowledge, have executed in the county in the past and are looking at more of the same in the future are orders of sale. There's quite a bit of work on a constable's part that goes into an order of sale. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes effort and time in working an order of sale. And, I mean, it's not unusual. I've only worked one, but I probably had 20 hours of time in that. And that was my first one, and that was with the help of a law firm that was pursuing that. So when you're doing it on your own and you are your own secretary, et cetera, it takes a lot of time to put those things together. So what I'm asking for, what we're asking for is, and I didn't put minimum, but I intended to put minimum $500 for an order of sale if canceled before the sale date, because there's quite a bit of work that goes into it before you get to the sale date. One civil process officer, prior to the constables taking over civil process for the sheriff's department for the county, had an order of sale that was satisfied prior to the sale date. And the county got nothing for that, for all the work that officer put in. So $500 for an order of sale if canceled before due date. And I would say $500 for any writ that requires an order of sale. That's the only writ I have performed. I don't think any other constable has performed any other writs than order of sale that require so much time and are a commissionable type thing. And you understand what I mean by commissionable. On the order of sale, we get a percentage of that sale price goes to the county. So that percentage could be $10,000, could be $5,000. So what we're asking for is $500 just to kind of help cover some of the work that we put in for it, if it goes to sale before the sale date. Any questions on that one?
Well, I'll just make this comment. If you're thinking you want a $500 minimum, then I guess there needs to be an hourly charge or something, or calculated. I mean, I guess the bottom line is, what do you want? You want to try the flat rate of $500?
Flat rate of
for a year?
$500, because it'd be pretty difficult to, unless it was done on an hourly basis, but even that would be kind of difficult to manage, I think. So $500 minimum.
Well, it wouldn't be a minimum, it'd be a flat.
I mean, $500, yeah, $500.
Flat rate? Okay.
Yeah, $500 flat rate. Any other questions? Okay, then finally, see attached, number 3 items reads, see attached schedule with the handwritten updates for other changes. So following this page was two other pages that are taken from the existing fee schedule, and with handwritten to the left, in the left column of the printed column are what we want the increases to go to for each of those line items. So you have some for notices, no change to the order of sale, writ of possession, $75 per hour per officer. And then under service fees and other service fees, you see some other changes. Basically what it is all the $200, what currently are $200 fees will change to $275, and all the $100 fees will change to $125. That would bring us and put us in the same, almost the same, well, the same average for sure of all the surrounding counties around us who are charging those fees now for these types of services. There's a few on the third page that bump $200 to $275, and a couple from $100 to $125. If there's no handwritten amount next to the printed amount, then those items don't change.
I guess my only question or additional comment would be on the mileage. Brenda, should that be at the current IRS rate? I mean, I know that's for your, well, I guess that applies to anything that has to do with any S-Tray, I guess, right?
For Estrees?
Yeah, well, I mean, the mileage is under, what is that related to?
Well, I have no idea. I've been told nobody in the county, for service purposes of the constables, for civil process services of the constables or sheriffs, that we don't charge mileage. I don't know why that is, but, so I've never charged a mileage. I don't believe, Constable Guzman, you never charged mileage, right? I'm pretty sure Constable Talley has not, and I would imagine Devin Keene also has not, but I can't speak for them. They're not here. But I've never heard of anybody charging mileage, whether it was a sheriff's deputy or a constable. And that's even before I became constable 5 years ago, so 6 years ago.
Did you got any idea what that mileage fee was ever used for?
I've never heard of the mileage fee. Is that just okay, when you get a stray call, that's dispatched out to go to it?
Yeah.
Or for the cowboy, okay, we get a bill for that. Yes, so that would be taken care of with the bill.
Okay, so
County doesn't have its own facility, and the county doesn't have its own cowboys.
Yeah. I apologize, Commissioner. We don't do those calls,
Yeah. Well,
so I didn't even know that the sheriff's department
Well, I
charged
guess
for
my
that.
question to the auditor is, should that be at the IRS rate?
I would imagine so. I mean, if we're gonna have it printed, it should be at the current IRS mileage rate.
If you're talking
I would-
about somebody coming with a gooseneck trailer, 50 cents a mile, anywhere even close to being current.
No.
If that's.
No, but I think didn't they just bump it to like 60 or something
Yeah.
like that?
It's over 50 cents, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
close to 60, I think now.
Yeah, it was either
Yeah, so
58 or 60
it's
or whatever.
appropriate to make that change. That's not part of my agenda here, but it would be appropriate to make that change now, since,
Here we'll have to notify the people that pick up our strays, if we're gonna change anything or do
But it's
anything.
got,
And I can get with Sergeant Rozier and find out what the.
after 16 miles, I got $2. That's what the sheriff presented.
After 16 miles,
Yeah.
it goes up.
Constable hadn't presented nothing, but the sheriff got after 16 miles.
50 cents up until 60.
You don't have the sheriff?
Sheriff's.
Sheriff. Their number's a little different than the constable on the livestock part. There it is. All the numbers are the same except for this part here.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Fowle, where do you see, is there something about mileage for constables?
Well, it's
No,
in
no,
the- It's in the.
y'all don't have it on your sheet. but
Okay.
The sheriff presented
Sheriff's.
Oh, on that one, okay,
the animal
okay,
livestock part.
got you, okay. All right, yeah. On civil process returns, not all, but most for constables, the civil process paperwork we receive, that is oftentimes mailed to the sheriff's department and then turned over to us. A lot of those civil process returns, the return is the document we fill out showing telling when we completed execution of that particular process, the time and the date, time and date we received it, the time and date we served it, and then we return that back to either a court or a law firm as appropriate. On a lot of those papers, it'll have a place for mileage for the constables. Now, I don't know why, but I've never asked why, but I've always been told that we don't charge for mileage. Now, to me, it seems like a good idea, but the thing is, on mileage, it's an after the fact. You've made 5 or 6 trips out there trying to serve the paper in person. You went to the post office to mail copies, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got some mileage on a lot of these different civil processes. You may have 50 to 100 miles because you're starting from your base and you're driving 25 miles or 15 miles one way to make that service. So constables rack up a lot of miles on that. If we could recover that and it goes back into the county coffers, it helps us each year be able to fund our vehicles for mileage throughout the year. So
May I interject real quick? If y'all don't mind? I'm sorry, I'm. Also, write this down, Brenda. Judge, I told you there wasn't a law, well, there is. Texas Local Government Code, Section 118-131. The reason you need to write that down, Brenda, is because me and you need to also kind of repeat where it says that county commission set reasonable fees for services and expenses of the offices of sheriff and constable. Now, as to this question's a little muddy. I don't know the answer to it because you do implicate, IRS tax charge and kind of federal guidelines for stuff. What I would recommend is possibly to consider kind of a minimum mileage that's factored into your fees. Whatever that is, I don't know. Kind of the sheet you've provided us. Maybe do like a 25-mile round trip, find out what that is. What is it, 56 right now, 56 cents?
I think it's
55?
58 and a half or 50.
Is it?
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
And then add that into it. And that way it just simplifies it.
on a minimum per
A
service.
Every service, they pay for it. I mean, and I think over the long.
Yeah, any amount would be helpful because, again, it goes back into the coffers and somewhere in all of the process throughout the year, some of that money's going to end up in my fuel budget,
Yeah, and I
so.
agree, and it'll, in the wash, over the term of it, you're gonna have folks that come in under, you're gonna have folks that go in over. But what you're not gonna have is folks who are sitting there wondering about that, wanting, that have questions about that and things like that.
Now,
That would be kind of just thinking real quick. Local Government Code 118.131.
Now, I myself do not have a home base other than my home, my actual home. So most of my mileage begins when I leave my house, when I'm going to do service. Unless I pick up at JP3, pick up the paperwork at JP3, which quite often I do. I get a lot of stuff in the mail, and I also get stuff at JP3. So I guess if we can define what a minimum mileage amount would be, Constable Guzman probably does most of his service beginning from his house on a daily basis. On occasion, we go to the JP office to pick up paperwork that they have for us. My mailbox I'm sharing a mailbox with the JP, so I pick up mail service processes that are mailed to me from other counties, other counties. I give them that post office box to use. So I'm there quite frequently to do pickup processes from there. So I'm not sure how to establish a minimum mileage. Most of yours begins from home, but he doesn't live, he's got a Floresville address, but he doesn't live in the city limits of Floresville. So he's got to drive 10 miles or so just to get to his office and find out if he's got any paperwork there that day, on any given day.
And not that this has anything to do with sheriff and constable fees, but just for reference, we do use in our policy for mileage reimbursement for JPs and anyone requesting mileage that doesn't have a set office, we use the courthouse address, the 1420 3rd Street, as the home base, no matter where you're traveling to or from, because this is the
And
home
what you
base.
just said is my point, because the IRS specifies how mileage is computed.
Yeah.
And that's not how mileage is computed. Mileage wouldn't be computed from his house to his office and then to the subsequent place he's going.
Correct.
Because he's going to his office anyways. That's the way the IRS looks at it.
No, what I meant was not him going to his office, but he's driving 10 miles to get to his office, okay? That's county fuel, right there on a daily basis. But yeah, starting for purposes of serving the civil process, it would begin for the most part, it would begin from his office. I don't get any mail at home. All my county-related, constable-related mail goes to Post Office Box 503, shared with JP3. So if I was going to charge mileage, I would, before she stated about starting at the courthouse, I would have used JP3 as a beginning location, so, and a return location.
And I appreciate it, Constable. I can answer the judge's question, but that question I want to look more into. And that's why I came up with kind of a workaround that.
Yeah.
And you can set sliding scale. Y'all are going to know approximately where you're going to be.
Yeah.
What the extent, what the reach of this service would be.
Yeah.
You could have a minimum mileage for a local and a minimum mileage for
Can we do whatever the starting point is for each one of us, whether it's the county courthouse or it's our individual homes or our individual offices, that be the center, and then do one of those circle things where if within 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, whatever.
But isn't that kind of unfair to the people that live in the periphery? Because that means that anybody that gets served a paper by you is going to get mileage from here, even though you may or may not have come here to get that piece of paper.
If we're using the county courthouse, that is correct.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if I'm not mistaken, the IRS rate applies from door to door, basically. So if I leave my house, that's fine. If I leave my office, that's fine. And everybody defines that a little bit differently. Because, my only point, I understand what Mr. Caldwell wants us to do to kind of come up with okay, what do you do? Say, charge 25 miles and figure that rate and put that in the fee and add that to what you already got? Or do you just, to me, it's simpler to say you're charging from portal to portal and you've got to keep your mileage and write it down, and then if you did it the other way, then you'd have to subtract 25 miles.
Okay, we could do that, understanding that I go to JP3, I pick up a paper, my schedule allows me to go immediately to attempt to serve that. So I drive 8 miles to serve it, nobody's home. I go on to my next call. At the end of the day, I go home. I left a card. They call me. They say, I'm home now. I'm going out of town tomorrow. So now I'm leaving. So now I got another charge, but it's from a different location. Okay, from portal to portal. Right? Okay, so.
I would expect you would charge that 8 miles you first travel, plus from your house to deliver it and then back.
It would.
In that particular case.
Yeah, now I would charge 16 miles if I'm not going anywhere else after that attempted service. But if I'm going elsewhere,
Right.
Then I charge.
That's what I've got something to comment on that. I'd say just let's figure in a minimum charge and that's the flat rate. Because, okay, say you get papers, 3 papers, same subdivision. Are you gonna charge each one of those 8 miles out and 8 miles back if you go serve all 3 of them at one time? Maybe they're on the
Good
same
question.
street, maybe they're neighbors.
Good question.
It'd be a lot easier, let's just make a flat rate, charge it and go on.
That makes it,
mileage at all.
it could be a minimum.
You're correct.
That's what I would do.
It could almost be a nominal amount as well, because we never charged it in the past, and all of a sudden we start charging it, boom, man, we got some more money coming in for fuel, so,
Call it a service fee,
Well,
service fee.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's just
part of your service.
make this,
Part of your service fee.
Yeah.
exactly.
but I guess my question would be is, can that fee be set, and then can that money that they're collecting to go for fuel go back to their budget so that they have a fuel budget? Because I know some of them are paying out of pocket if they're going over their fuel budget.
What do you mean paying out of pocket? They all
Well,
have.
they're paying, I know they all have it, but I know some of them, sometimes they pay for it themselves. And don't ask for reimbursement.
well, I pay out of pocket, but I get reimbursed
Yeah.
through expenses. So.
Always?
Like John's Oil, every time I come to Floresville, if I need fuel, I'll call John's Oil and find out what their price is. If it's better than the street price, I'll go to John's Oil. Otherwise, I go to the street price. But only at John's Oil do I not have to pay for any, I just sign a ticket,
Right.
Everybody else, I hold on to it till it's expense time and then I expense it, so. And I've never had a problem with that, really. I mean, I'm fine with that. It'd be a lot more fun to pull up to a tank and pump gas, put gas in there and just drive off, but we can't do that, so.
Okay, we're going up 20, the way it's written here, we're going up $25 across the board on the service fees. If that $25 does not suffice what we're gonna do with the gas, just go to, $135 and flat fee and go on.
I'm good with that, too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can start trying to keep track of mileage and you had to make trips and.
More paperwork, yeah. Yeah, I like that idea, Judge. That's good.
You're saying, Judge,
No,
everyone-
service fees down here,
Yeah, everyone go up.
yes. The writs, leave them like they're the subpoenas and summonses, leave them like they are. But only ones I'm suggesting are the small claims, justice court citation, and all other citations, and then the temporary restraining orders, protective orders, and
Go up
That's it.
$10 on each one?
Could there be consideration for just going up $5 on all of these prices? And let that $5, once it hits the general fund, it becomes, that's when it starts to become work to keep track of it, to account for.
oh, you're talking about
for it
going up $5 on every.
across the
fee.
board. Every item that is
What- then
handwritten in
other-
there, add
Higher than what
$5.
you've got here.
Yes, sir.
Instead of 275, be 280
Right,
for writs,
right.
okay?
And that covers fuel.
Okay,
And that
what
doesn't
about
have to
when we
be
get to the-
spelled out or broken out. It's just a part of the expense that's covered with
The
it.
estray fees, leave the estray fees like they are, because they're gonna be confusing as heck as they are anyway.
Yeah.
And we usually have to contract that out.
That's totally different, except.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
leave, yeah.
But, okay, what about the writs? Are we gonna leave the writs, or this is just service fees?
Well, you do a service fee, because on writs, I mean, like an order of sale, there might be 10 or 15 trips to that location throughout the order of sale process,
Okay,
or more.
so,
Writ of possession, a writ of possession normally is going to be, it's set for one date, and normally it's going to occur on that date and be completed, executed on that date. A few of those have been postponed to cover 2 days maybe, or something along that line. But I would add $5 to everyone and let that $5 piece of the service fee take care of fuel. It may or may not, but it's better than what we've had in the past.
you know, it's
That
gonna be more than what
$5
we're
go
getting
back
now.
to the constable's
It's
fuel
part of the
bill?
fee.
No, just part of the fee.
It's part of the fee.
Because all of the constables and sheriff's fees go into the general fund, which is used to offset and budget for fuel in everybody's line item. So it's not something that goes directly back into their budget to credit.
Chief Garza, I know you can't necessarily 100% speak for the sheriff. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yes, if it's with the constables, if it works for them, I think we're good with it. They're doing the majority of the civil process.
Okay. Will you redo your,
I can modify it, by what time frame do we need to have it back to tomorrow?
Because we're gonna have to set those fees and put them in.
Okay. Okay, so then, my understanding is I will add $5 to any item that we're changing here, basically. If there's not a handwritten, or do you want to just add $5 to everything? $205.
Yeah, I mean, but you're looking at the constables. We've got to look at the sheriffs too. And so I think yours and the sheriff's is the same as far as all your writs and your service papers and all that kind of stuff. So I would leave the estray alone.
The estray that was created from Sergeant Rozier, researching other fees, and then what's gone up with it.
Yeah.
And y'all good?
A lot of times on the,
Y'all good with those numbers?
Yeah, those are, we're solid with those. That's what's us.
You probably- Yeah.
No.
okay, so on your first page, everything on that first page would go up $5 from what you've got here, the 125 for,
I think $75 an hour per officer on the scene, per any portion of an hour. For civil standbys, I would say,
That wouldn't be a mileage deal anyway, that 75 per hour, but the,
well, I was contacted to do a civil standby at Frontier Storage, which is a good 12, 15 miles from where I live. And it was done on a Saturday. So, but $75 an hour for civil standby, I would say right now we get 50, and we don't have that many. I've only actually had to charge for 2 or 3. And, but
you have much luck collecting?
yeah, well, they don't get, the possession's not turned over to them. Once the place is cleaned out and it's ready to be turned over, if there was expended time, they don't get, until they paid that. Possession is not theirs. So you just don't turn over possession to them. Which means they can't change the locks to prevent anybody from going in that might have a spare key. So you're generally, I haven't had any problem collecting. But I think the $75, if we raise that to 75, that'll cover that fuel. So leave that one alone on number 1. Commissionable with cancellation. You know, the only way the constables are going to see any of that $500 is if we don't have to worry about our fuel, running out of fuel money for the year. And I think this would help, you know, if we have that in there. Of course, if an item goes to sale, a property goes to sale, and it is sold, then there's a sizable commission to be made from that. So fuel is probably covered okay with item number 2. And so that only leaves item number 3, which is the list of items. And if I redo all of those and add $5 to every item, then our time and effort and fuel should be covered okay.
Okay, y'all good with the changes he's made?
So all writs will be 280?
Yes, 280.
So subpoenas would be 130, summons would be 130, writ of attachment.
Subpoenas and summons, I'm not sure, maybe Mr. Caldwell can answer this. We don't charge for penal, or for criminal summons or criminal subpoenas. There is a charge for civil summons and civil subpoenas, although it doesn't state that. It just says summons and subpoenas.
You wouldn't serve any summons or subpoenas on a criminal case that wasn't requested by the county attorney or the district attorney, correct?
I've not served one yet, only civil.
Okay, and I didn't think you did too many.
Yeah.
But, because I don't believe that, like a defendant, their attorney, if they wanted you to do service, they
Yeah.
would pay for that.
Yeah,
Whereas the state of Texas, that's one of your duties.
that's what?
That is one of your duties to both myself and the district attorney's office, or the sheriff if you need service.
Okay.
You would only be charging us.
Okay, so all writs would be 275. All the items that say 125 would be 130. All the 275s would be 280. And almost everything you see here involves a constable or a sheriff's deputy physically making a trip to an address one or more times to complete the service. Service is completed when you actually hand it to them, or you do alternative service, request alternative service from the court, which would allow you to mail a copy to the party because you've made X number of attempts in your due diligence and you've not yet been able to find that party to hand the paperwork to them. So in those cases, you can get permission from the court to mail the copy. But all of these, possibly with the exception of Estray and Estray and maybe catch fees, I don't know, could take more than one trip. I know Estray Loose Livestock has taken more than one trip before. The deputy gets out there, no cow. And then an hour later, they get a call, the cow's out again. So, and a lot of those calls, a second deputy passing by will stop and help assist, you know.
These fees are for the cowboys when they pick up, is the way I understand it. That's where these catch fees are.
And I would suggest that your paper reflect the same as the sheriff's on these
Correct.
fees.
Well, it's.
I don't have a copy of the sheriff's fees. I thought it was the same, I thought Constable Guzman sent the sheriff a copy, and I thought that's what he provided for over here, but. He did?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same as, it should be the same then, those numbers.
All the fees are the same, the only difference is he upped the Estray fees and. the
Oh, okay.
and all that stuff.
Okay, I don't have that information. So, I will need to get a copy of that page then? Thank you. Can I have this one? Yes. Okay, thanks.
On that, like Commissioner I'll just brought forcible detainer, that needs to go to 130 also.
Because you don't have nothing on
On which?
forcible.
Page
Ten-
one.
Page one.
Well, it's the first page of the fee schedule. Right above, where your service fees are, right above that, the forcible,
Where the what is?
where the service fees are, right above that, the forcible.
Oh, forcible detainer, okay, I see it there, $100. And I'm sorry, yeah, raise that to 125.
That should be 130.
130. So all the hundreds will go to 130. That includes the service fee, and somehow Mr. Trevino will figure out $5 of that goes back into the general fund for fuel, hopefully. And all the 275s will go to 280. And that's for the individual line items that are on here. And then again, my page one of the fee schedule, the cover page for the fee schedule, covers civil standby, commissionable writs. And so everything should be taken care of there. The commissionable standby, I think it's $75 an hour per officer, and normally there's just one officer there, but there have been occasions when we needed to. That'll take care of the fuel for those. A civil standby is typically a 1 day, 30-minute to, most of the ones I've been on are probably an hour to 2 hours, so. Any questions?
I have a question for Mr. Vino. Do they divide these service fees up into all kinds of stuff like they do?
Talking about.
They don't? It's all one, okay. I was thinking, my gosh, how much more difficult can they make it?
Yeah, so that was gonna be our question to you. Are you going to want her to pull the $5 out from every payment she receives and have us receipt it into a different line item so that y'all can see how many $5 fees we get in a year? Or does it matter? Because
To me, it doesn't matter. I don't
really
know
it
about
would just be
anybody
for
else.
your
It's all gonna go in the
information
same.
only.
It's all gonna go in the same kitty.
Right.
So it don't really matter.
If you don't need to see it broken out, then she would just continue doing the same. That's what we were just.
Because there's enough of different.
There's four fines,
Fees, taxes, whatever else that
Without
that the state
creating
wants you to
more.
identify, yes, it's.
there's 4 constables.
Especially because there's no statute that says we have to do that, and that money can only be used for fuel. It's all related to the general fund.
There's only 4 constables that would be quote-unquote responsible for creating that extra $5. And I don't know that it's going to be a noticeable amount by the end of a fiscal year anyway. You know, when it comes budget time, you may see more money in the general fund at the end of the year, or you may not, as a result of the fuel fees that were collected. But it's still all there, and at least we know we're collecting something on it. And like I said, you know, hopefully, I don't have to worry about, am I going to make it through the year with the fuel prices? So,
Yeah, fuel is a large, very large item nowadays.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, I mean, we adjust for, you know, speculating as fuel
Yeah.
costs are fluctuating.
I've never had a
Never be
problem.
Without fuel, in other words.
I've never had a problem with it, but it's an expense, and we're allowed to recapture our expenses. And I say we, meaning the county. So it's just a small bucket that gets thrown into the general fund, and I'm sure it's going to be more welcomed than not welcome who wants to turn away money, so.
Well, it's just to help cover some of the cost we've already.
Exactly, and it's a nominal amount to the party that has to pay it, so.
Okay, let's kind of start moving on. I'll entertain a motion to accept the new fee schedule with the changes that we've talked about.
I'll make a motion to approve the sheriff's and constable fees for 2023 as presented and discussed.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we accept the new fee schedule for 2022, 2023. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Constable.
Okay, moving along to agenda item number 6, Richard L. Jackson, County Judge, discuss and take action on Domestic Violence Awareness Month proclamation. Jennifer Fernandez, would you mind reading the proclamation?
Good morning. Whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse, including abuse to children and the elderly. Whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and societal barriers and are supported by societal indifferences. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and society as a whole, here in this community, the Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter answered 1,271 crisis calls and had 1,224 shelter days from September 21 to August 2022. And whereas women are not the only targets, men, young children, and the elderly also are victims. And sadly, emotional scars are often permanent, and domestic violence costs United States companies at least $3.5 billion in lost work time, increased healthcare costs, higher turnover, and lower productivity. And whereas it is battered women themselves who have been in the forefront of efforts to bring peace and equality to the home. Now, therefore, we do hereby proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month and call all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our effort to prevent domestic violence, thereby strengthening the communities in which we live.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to accept the proclamation.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we accept the proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Prevention Month in 2022. That's just 2021.
Oh.
So, we'll have to change that.
Okay.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, if y'all don't mind, can we, it says 2021?
Yes, sir, we'll fix that.
Okay.
I'll send it
If
to
you get
you.
it back to us and we'll get it signed. And, you want a picture? Or-
I'd love a picture, thank you. Yes.
And let's do, agenda item 10 while Jennifer's here. It has to do with her also. Richard L. Jackson County Judge discuss and take action on improving the courthouse square on the evening of Thursday, October 27th, 2022 by Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter for a candlelight vigil.
I'll make a motion that we approve letting the Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter use courthouse square for their candlelight vigil.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pardola, second by Commissioner Fowle, that we use courthouse square for the vigil on October 27th. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've got it done. Come on around here. Yeah, let's just all stand up here.
Sitting down, get us all.
Oh, the place suck in. Oh,
Come on over here.
Yes.
get up here.
Why
You
did
can
Tom?
get, you can get behind us because you're tall enough.
It's big enough you can see.
Where are you going?
Come here, Paul, closer.
There you go, come on.
All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Okay. Okay, moving to agenda item number 7, Richard L. Jackson County Judge discuss and take action on the holidays and paydays for 2023. And the holidays are Monday, January 2nd, 2023, New Year's Day, Monday, January 16th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Monday, February the 20th, President's Day, Friday, April 7th, Good Friday, Monday, May 29th, Memorial Day, Monday, June 19th, Juneteenth, Tuesday, July 4th, Independence Day, Monday, September 4th, Labor Day, Friday, October 13th, Peanut Festival, Friday, November 10th, Veterans Day, Thursday, November 23rd, Thanksgiving Day, Friday, November 24th, Thanksgiving, Monday, December 25th, Christmas Day, Tuesday, December 26th, day after Christmas. So it should say, it doesn't say that exactly, but we need to get that, because it's changed. But those are the days. And then the paydays, all employees will continue to be paid every other Friday. Paychecks will be sent by mail, will be mailed 1 day prior to payday. Longevity will be paid on Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023.
Judge, can I speak up and how about the longevity pay? Can we change that to the week prior, because that falls on payday, and we always have to go back to back. So preferably, could that be November 17th, where it falls between the 2nd and the 4th, or excuse me, between the two paydays, say,
The 2nd and the 4th of December?
November? Because right now, y'all have it as November 22nd.
Yeah. We used to have it in December, years ago.
That's fine, I don't want to change the month, I just want to bump it
Okay.
up a week, so it's not falling on a payroll.
Yeah, we would be changing it back if we changed it back to December, because it used to be December.
Don't, no.
Nope,
Keep
you don't
it
like
separate.
December?
You're good, no, you're good with that, just not the week.
So
of
changing
payroll.
it to November 17th would be the Friday before.
Preferably, if y'all wouldn't mind entertaining that.
Okay, somebody make all of the changes.
It does help our office a tad.
I'll make a motion, Judge, that we approve the holiday for 2023 that's been presented. And all payroll be every other Friday. And the longevity will be November 17th.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fowle, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we approve the holidays and the longevity pay with the changes submitted. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries, so we've got that. Okay, agenda item number 8, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, discuss and approve dates, times and dates of regular Commissioners Court meetings for 2023. And this is what I've got here, regular Commissioners Court meeting dates. 2023 Commissioners Court meetings will be held the second and fourth of every month at 9 a.m. I'll say Monday of every month at 9 a.m. with the exception of the following, which falls on a county holiday. Monday, December 25th, the meeting will be held December 27th at 9 a.m.
I make a motion that we accept the Commissioners Court meeting dates as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Perdola, second by Commissioner Martin. We accept the Commissioners Court meeting dates as presented. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We've got one of them, Eva. The rest of them will have to get changed. Okay. Now moving to agenda item number 9, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, discuss and take action on Coney maintenance contract with Wilson County for courthouse elevator.
Hasn't been no issue
I
with
got
it.
it here somewhere. Okay, here is, it's I think it's the same as last year's. It's $171.02 a month. This is inspections and all of the maintenance that they allow to do.
$172 a month.
$171.02.
That's where I got that 2 from. 7102. So they didn't go up?
I do not have last year's, let's see. But I'm thinking that was the same amount, more or less than what we had last year. Do you remember, Brenda?
What, and what is the total? I don't have it here.
I don't know what the total is, but it's a monthly charge of $171.02. I think it's, yes.
It's about $2,000.
Yeah.
Little less than $2,000.
I don't know what the exact dollar amount is, but I would say that's probably within 5%.
And this is below what we have to do to go out for bids, but anytime we've gone out for
Yeah.
bids, Coney's blown everybody else out
Yeah,
of the water.
and we budgeted sufficiently for it, so.
Do they come out
Yes.
monthly and inspect
They
it?
come
or
out and then do it for that, so that's a decent price.
I make a motion, Judge, that we approve the Kono maintenance contract for the Wilson County for the courthouse elevator.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powell, second by Commissioner Martin, we approve the Coney proposal for the elevator, maintenance and inspections. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, who's gonna get this sent back to Coney?
I don't mind getting, yeah.
Or do we give it to, yeah, they need it
already?
back to do their,
Yeah.
their part, the signatures. It's only got mine on it.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, we've already done agenda item number 10. So we're moving to agenda item number 11. Richard L. Jackson, County Judge, Brenda L. Trevino, County Auditor, presentation of annual audit for Wilson County Jail Commissary and Inmate Trust Fund account.
Yes, Judge. So in accordance with Local Government Code, Section 351.0415 and Section 511.016, I performed the annual audit over the commissary and inmate trust accounts over at the sheriff's department inside the jail. The bank accounts that were audited were just those two. The sheriff does have 4 different bank accounts, and the other ones are audited throughout the year. There were no findings in terms of the financial status of the inmate trust fund and the commissary account. All balances were correct. In the inmate trust fund, and this is something that I'm discussing with Mr. Caldwell, is the amount of funds that we have in the bank in the inmate trust fund exceeds the active inmates in our jail, and that goes back to 2006, and that's mainly because inmates would leave and not come back if they were discharged on a weekend and not come back for their refunds. Just different situations. So I think Mr. Caldwell and I are going to come up with a plan on addressing that, maybe advertising it, and then turning it over to the state as unclaimed property if they don't come and get their money. So there were some administrative things that need to be worked on, but nothing out of the ordinary. You know, we all know the jail is short-staffed, so everybody's being pulled in different directions. But everyone was very accommodating and provided all of the documentation that I needed to perform the audit. And all of those situations have been discussed with the jail administrator, assistant jail administrator, and then a copy was given to Sheriff Stewart as well. And when he returns back from out of town, we'll go over any questions he may have. So, and then this gets also sent to the jail commission as well as a requirement. Any questions?
Do we need to formally approve it or accept
No,
it?
just for your information only.
Do we have any obligation to try to get the money back to the ones that left?
There is statute that does say that we have to make an effort to do that.
What is considered an effort, though? I mean, do we, because I know these people leave, and most of them do not have an address when they leave.
Yeah, so that was one of the items that was discussed during last year's audit, and they have implemented a process where now if an inmate is discharged on the weekend or after hours, they require the inmate to fill out, or the person to fill out a form that has a current address, and a check is mailed out the next business day. They have found that some of the ones that are like $1, $2 don't ever get cashed. So at that point, I mean, that money just becomes unclaimed property, and we just turn it over to the state.
Does that account draw interest?
Yeah, I mean, it's sitting in a regular bank account. Mhm. Yeah,
So at least it's drawing a little interest.
yeah.
What about a prisoner that's been transported to a state or federal prison?
The way I understand it, that money follows them.
Follows with them?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
oh, okay, yeah.
but I can, you know, a bunch of those guys, when they leave, they don't want to give you an accurate address.
Yeah.
They're gone.
They don't want to come back.
Yes.
And they usually don't come back, especially if it's for minimum amount, so there are some, but, and most of the money that's in there has been sitting in there for a while, just accumulating over many years, so we just need to get it out of there and either give it back, give it to the state, or give everybody an opportunity. And I think when I spoke with Mr. Caldwell about this, it may be something that we advertise, like in the Wilson County News, says if you were here during this time period and you feel like you're owed money, call this number, verify. If not, it's going to the state, so. I just know that we can't keep
We can't keep
We
it.
can't keep it, no.
The state will.
You know,
The state will.
Well, add to the state's $27 billion reserve. But that's all I have on that.
Okay. This is just an information item?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving to agenda item number 12, Mr. L. Jackson County Judge Linda L. Trevino County Auditor, discuss and possibly award material hauling, material plus hauling, bids, that's it.
Yes.
Material hauling and material plus hauling.
So last Commissioners Court, you asked for us to send out an addendum regarding the material bid, which we did, as discussed by adding the fuel surcharge. We created a table and sent the addendum out to each of the respondents. Your single sheet is the responses that we received that were updated. Your stapled copy are the original bids that we received back. Each of the respondents did respond. However, only one modified their pricing, which was 9-0 Transportation and Sales. Everyone else resubmitted the same pricing that they had submitted originally. And then I will turn it over to Commissioner Martin because he did have a conversation in my office with one of the respondents, which was Colorado Materials, and we were on speakerphone, so I'll let him speak to that.
Yeah, so I coordinated with Mr. Trevino and Ms. Labas to get the addendum put out. We did receive a question from Colorado Materials, and the three of us gave them a phone call and asked them, what part of this didn't they understand, basically. And they said, well, our accounting system doesn't allow us to do that. They are the only ones, to my knowledge, that made that statement. So, and the interesting thing is if you go back and look, so I guess here's the issue. If we award based on the addendum, we're not saving any money.
None at all.
And I guess Atascosa's materials prices were not that bad, but they would be entitled to the additional fuel service charge. As Mr. Trevino stated, the 9-0 did lower their prices about $3 a yard, roughly. The rest of them didn't really, Brontex went, let's see. Brontex, did they turn one back in? Because they're not on here. And then, of course, on the Ergon asphalt and stuff, if you just look, they just have a flat rate delivery charge. So if you look at like the AP emulsion, it's $833 if we pick it up. It's $874 if they deliver it. So that's a $41 delivery charge. And it's across the board, so that's not too bad. So I don't know, I'm kind of at a quandary as to what to do. I'm almost tempted to go back to the original bids and we can award them for 3 months and rebid, and if they want to play a game, they can play a game. We're trying to make it fair for everybody so that if fuel goes up, they get compensated for it. If it goes down, then we reap the benefit of it going down. As it stands right now, since 9-0 is the only one that really followed, and then Ergon, of course. But then that only gives us one vendor to get our materials from.
I did want to clarify, Brontex did not respond to the addendum.
Okay.
Okay, the only thing, the original bids were bid for a year, correct?
Yes, but I asked her if we could just award them for 3 months, and Mr. Caldwell stepped out, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't award it for 3 months.
We can ask him, but I'm pretty sure we can.
Mr. Caldwell.
Yes, sir.
So originally, we indicated to the bidders that the contract would be for 1 year. We sent out an addendum, asked them to recalculate it and use a fuel surcharge. Only one vendor really did that. Can we go back to the original bid and just award that for 3 months?
Are we on item 12?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Making sure. Yes. Let me see if I understand the question. The original bidding that we've received, you just want to, instead of making it for a year, you want to make it for just 3 months?
Yes.
And then go out to, and then go out for bid again after 3 months because the prices are
What they submitted
fluctuating.
was a bid for a year.
Certainly.
And the reason we did the 3 months is because of the horrendous
Fuel.
increase in the
I
fuel
can get it, yeah.
price.
Things move fast these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand, but the original bid was submitted for 1 year. It was a 1-year request. Doesn't that materially affect the bid by stating we're no longer, because you're almost putting the bidder, I mean, they may have quoted you a more reasonable fuel charges in their bid because it was based upon 1 year.
Well, at the time they bid, regular gasoline was about 340, 350 gallon, and diesel was up still fairly close to 5 gallons. So it, regular gas has dropped 50 cents more or less since then. Diesel's dropped about 20 to 25 cents. The reason we did the addendum was to have them go back and set a base charge with fuel based at $3.25 a gallon. And then whatever the fuel cost the week we called them to deliver the material, let's say it was $4. So that's, we had a chart that says if the fuel is between this price and this price, you get to add 2%, 3%, 4%, 10%, whatever the fuel price is based over $3.25 a gallon. So the fuel went up, they would get compensated for it. That's been their complaint is, hey, we're delivering this to you, fuel's gone way up, blah, blah, blah. By the same token, if it goes down, well, we want to make sure that we get that reward. That's what we were trying to do.
Okay, so we have actually engaged in discourse with our bidders.
We did, but out of all of them that responded to the addendum, only one modified their price from the original bid.
Then you are free to award that bid based on. But I would also reach out to them and say, we're only doing it for 3 months instead of 1 year. Is that, did y'all already propose that as well?
No, that's what we're asking.
We were
Is that
hoping-
permissible?
Yeah, because we were hoping that they would all modify their pricing so that the year would suffice. And since they didn't, now they're asking if we can tell them we've awarded it, but we're only awarding it for 3 months, not 1 year.
Well, y'all are changing the bid requirements, still doing that. I was encouraged by the fact that y'all have discussed this with our proposed vendors, but it sounds like to me you're maybe discussing something today that you haven't discussed with them.
Correct.
I would
That is
reach out
correct.
to these vendors and say, we're only going with 3 months, do you wish to maintain your bid for the 3?
Yeah.
And if they do, then you could go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
That way, and do that in writing and put that in with the bids.
So we do a second addendum, basically send it back out and ask them to agree to it and sign it.
And the reason is our hot tar road oil went from like $8,000 a load to almost $14,000 a load.
Yeah,
So
we
we
can't,
saw-
we have the right to do what we're doing, but in the interest of not finding a scenario where you award a bid and then they just refuse to accept it,
Yeah, I
because-
think they need to be notified.
Yeah, they need to be notified.
Sure.
So,
I mean, that-
but all sides are going into this thing fully aware of the terms.
Yeah.
So we
Okay,
really
so-
can't award it then, right?
No.
I would propose that y'all
Wait,
table this item till your next meeting. I think y'all can take action on this in 2 weeks.
Yeah, do the addendum.
If I need to be involved in it, I'm
Motion
happy
for
to
that.
talk to these vendors as well, explain to them why, but I think they get it. They're businessmen.
I'll make a motion that we table this until the next Commissioners Court meeting in lieu of notifying the vendors that this is going to be a 3-month bid, not a 12-month bid.
Okay.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Padovas, second by Commissioner Martin.
Seconded.
We table agenda item number 12 to revisit the bid process. Is there any more discussion?
We
All in
need-
favor?
need to notify all the vendors that originally bid on the first.
Yes.
If they don't respond, they don't respond, but we won't be accused of amending our bids.
Right.
I and we won't be violating procurement rules by doing that. And we'll also be, you know,
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? Okay, so we take. Then y'all can get it done before next Commissioners Court?
Yes.
Yeah, we were able to do what we did in 2 weeks, so.
While we're talking about the bids, Judge, what about the towing? Because I know October 1, our contract is out.
Well, at the last court, you guys rejected the towing bid, and y'all were going to leave it up to the sheriff's department to contract with who he wanted to, as long as he stayed on top of it. So there was no award for the towing bid.
So is that, Chief, is that what y'all's plans are? Do you know?
Making a note, I'll talk to Sheriff when he gets back.
I think
I
that's
know
what the
starting
sheriff
Saturday
wanted.
week,
I think that's what the sheriff
That's
wanted.
what the sheriff wanted.
yeah, I know he wanted to talk to Mr. Caldwell about it, but
I have not spoke with him. But we are off agenda, gentlemen.
I know, but that's,
Yeah, that item wasn't on the agenda. Okay, going back to, can I revisit agenda item number 7?
Judge, you're there.
I have a question. Okay, Brenda or Christina?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you're moving it back. When is the cutoff date for the longevity, to get the longevity? Is that gonna affect somebody that would get it normally? And then, oh my
We have
gosh, no,
been-
you haven't been here a year yet, so you don't
In
get
the
it.
last couple of years, we've been using November 30th? November 30th as the cutoff date for,
Okay,
so if,
so I can get my longevity pay and adios, I'll see you later, okay?
yeah.
But, okay, it's not gonna affect anything, okay, that's what I wanted to
No,
know.
because it was based off of the day that they would have reached it. If it was in that
Right,
time period, then
Yeah.
they got it.
yeah, within the 30 days, so that way if somebody's here, yeah, if their anniversary date was November 25th and we say November 30th, they could still get it.
Okay, good deal, thank you. Okay, now we're moving to agenda item number 13. Gary Martin, Commissioner Precinct 1, discuss and take action to authorize a county judge to sign a contract with Terracon to perform the geotechnical investigation for the Emergency Operations Center.
Okay, thank you, Judge. So as you know, the court approved designing an emergency operations center. We received that fee proposal for that. It did not include this work because the dimensions and the location of the building weren't firmed up at that time. So now we've had enough preliminary discussions with the designers and the structural engineers to know where the geotechnical investigation needs to be done for them to be able to perform the design for that building. So we reached out to Terracon to provide that, who's a well-known geotechnical consultant in San Antonio. And they have provided us a price of, and I don't know why I can't ever find it. Here we go. It is $7,200 as a lump sum fee to do all of the work. That's to come out, do the geotechnical borings, take the samples, have them analyzed, and write a geotechnical report and recommendations for loading for the building. They also included a $1,200 fee for private utility locates. And I'm going to recommend that we do that because I've worked with the sheriff in trying to find the as-built for a lot of stuff that's out there. And of course, there's some stuff that's been there forever. We can't find any drawings. And the city of Floresville will not come onto private property. I'm going to try to work with them and see if we can't figure out how we can get that water line, at least the water line, located. CenterPoint Energy should come and locate their gas line. That's one that's in the area of where we're going to be drilling. But if we need to try to figure out anything else, that would be included in that. So I'll entertain any questions that anybody has regarding the proposal.
I thought I had a copy of that. What is the total?
So that would be $8,400. And this would come out of the ARP money, and I did send this to Mr. Caldwell to review, and he has approved it.
So have y'all talked to anyone besides Terracon, or was it just a
No, they're
company choice, or?
they're a qualified engineering firm, so this is professional services. It's more about qualifications and reliability.
and we don't have to go out for bids for this
Nope.
service?
It's professional service.
professional service, you don't have to, and it's not even, not 50,000 either.
Well, it's 70,000.
No,
8,000, not 70, 7.
Total of
What was
80,
the total?
total is 8,400.
That's what I thought.
$8,400.
And like I said, professional services, we don't. So,
So, I'll make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign a contract with Terracom to perform the geotechnical investigation for the Emergency Operations Center.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Bedolla, contract with Terracon for the geotechnical investigation for the Emergency Operations Center. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I guess, I don't, Ava, do you need a copy?
Yes.
Okay,
Or do we send it back to him?
No, that's fine. They'll bill us out.
you're on.
Yeah.
Agenda item number 14, Rebecca Scriven, Permits and Development Director. 14A, Utility Permit. 14A1, Permit number 693, Sutherland Springs Water Supply Corporation, Precinct 3, County Road 342, review and approve.
Utility permit 693 is one that was brought before y'all previously. They were proposing to bore for a typical 1-inch service line. They're proposing to trench 342.
They were going to cut the pavement, and we rejected their,
Yes, it was rejected, and I reached out to SS Water to request that they would bore. And they did go ahead and bore under the road rather than trenching. The map you see does say proposed cut, but that's just what they originally submitted. I'm waiting for an updated work description just to file, or to,
they've
for the
actually already
records.
bored.
They did already go ahead and do the bore a couple weeks ago, yeah. Yes.
They didn't cut the road. They didn't like it, but they conceded to go ahead
They'll
and
get
bore.
used to it.
Yeah.
We'll get over it.
Okay,
Well, I make a motion that we accept the permit as presented, permit number 693, SS Water Corp.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Bedolla, second by Commissioner Martin, that we approve permit number 693. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're moving to 14A2, permit number 697, El Oso Water Supply Corporation, Precinct 2, County Road 229, review and approve.
All right, this is a request to bore under County Road 229. It's a typical 1-inch service line with a 2-inch casing, and it's from private property to private property.
Off of 541, right there, the curve, by bar none, when you pass the curve,
Okay. Oh, yeah, that one goes straight off.
south. I've already talked to the Aloso and also reviewed this. They're gonna bore it. I'll make a motion, Judge, that we approve permit 697, Aloso Water, road crossing at County Road 229.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fowles, second by Commissioner Bedolla, that we approve permit number 697. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now, we're moving to 14B subdivision, the Timbers, 14B1, discuss and take action on release of 1-foot non-access easement.
All right. The Timber subdivision is a private road, or private roads throughout the subdivision. Rather than a letter of credit like a subdivision would typically do, they had the 1-foot non-access easement that was required to ensure the roads were constructed properly. They did meet all the requirements. It was inspected and signed off on by Precinct 4. And
What was it on access easement?
so typically subdivisions will do a letter of credit that the county holds to ensure the roads will be constructed, and that letter of credit is held until they meet all the requirements, the roads are inspected and approved. Since it's private roads that the county isn't going to accept anyway, it was a 1-foot non-access easement that can't be crossed for the purpose of construction. So it prevents any houses being built until the roads are up to par. So they had to meet the requirements of the typical road inspections that are done, the subgrade, finish base, and then the final paving inspection, which were off of, 775.
Right there by the Kycaster Creek?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
The
old
1-foot
Moore
easement
place.
thing is a usual customary thing we do on all of them, whether we're accepting them or not. It makes them, it ensures that they can't start marketing anything until they have, at least complied with our regulations. That also keeps them from putting the bond up.
Any other questions?
That would be precinct.
That's precinct 4.
I make a motion, Judge, that we release a 1-foot non-access easement on the Timbers subdivision.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fowle, second by Commissioner Perdomo, to release the 1-foot non-access easement on the Timbers. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, so, thank you.
So if they have problems on these private roads, they go back to the developer?
HOA.
It's a-
Yeah, HOA.
That's what, okay, agenda item number 15, Edwin Baker, Health and Public Safety. Discuss and take action on adopting the burn ban. I got a text from, y'all all got a text from Edwin this morning saying he recommended that we adopt the burn ban for at least another 90 days. Did you want to talk about this?
No, I'm just have the paper for y'all.
What's that?
I have the
You
paper.
that? Okay. He recommended it, and I do know it's still dry out there. I have some green grass, but what the worms aren't getting, the drought is.
Yeah, well, the worms aren't getting it right. I'll make a motion that we put the burn ban back on for another 90 days.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Perdomo, second by Commissioner Martin. We reinstate the burn ban for another 90 days. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I can tell Edwin did this because he used Richard Lee Jackson on it. Okay, now we're back to the normal stuff. Agenda item number 16, Jalen P. Butterford, Human Resource General Specialist, payroll and personnel changes.
I can send it to him, but I need to scan it. I'll scan it, send it back to him, and I'll bring it.
Good morning. Roman Macias was hired as a part-time patrol deputy for the Sheriff's Department, making $20.60 per hour effective September 12th. Bradley Douthwaite was hired as a corrections officer for the Sheriff's Department, making $16.03 per hour, $35,000 annually effective September 14th. Samuel Trevino was hired as a corrections officer for the Sheriff's Department, making $16.03 per hour, $35,000 annually effective September 20th. Pamela Talmage was hired as a part-time tax customer service specialist for the tax office, making $14.42 per hour effective September 20th. And Amanda Foreman was hired as a tax customer service specialist for the tax office, making $14.42 per hour, $30,000 annually, effective September 20th. Rebecca Bettis resigned from her position as a dispatcher for the Sheriff's Department effective September 14th. And Harold Rios resigned from his position as a patrol deputy for the Sheriff's Department effective September 28th. And Doug Smith retired from his position as a road hand with Precinct 3 effective September 30th.
Wow. How old is Roman?
47, I believe.
He's already retired from DPS. Wow. Okay, thank you. Okay, agenda item number 17, Brenda El Trevino County Auditor bills.
Judge, the total amount for bills is $204,563.43.
Only.
Oh. We still have about, I would say, one more Commissioners Court bills to be added to the end of this fiscal year, because this fiscal year ends this Friday. So the next Commissioners Court would be the last of this current fiscal year. Anything that's related to 2020.
So next Commissioners Court meeting will be part this year and part
Yeah.
next year.
Mhm.
Is Tally going by FLIR insurance, or are they, because I see where Victoria Tejada was, her bond was with FLIR insurance? Is that
Yes,
the old
they have requested, for us to pay FLIR right now until there,
one? Oh, they haven't
something
completed
happens
their.
with the change, yeah, in service or something of that nature.
I was seeing all these.
Oh, yeah, I bet it's related to their registration as a agent or whatever. And so, yeah, it probably takes 90 days or
Yeah.
better or longer to get that all
Yeah.
straightened out, yeah.
We're not through with that.
Brenda, Amanda called me for an additional bills from Aragon. They were somehow got marked precinct 4 and they were mine, and she called me for an additional approval Friday, so they didn't get in here, or what
Right.
happened there?
I don't know, I was not aware of that. They're not listed under yours, is that what you're saying? You don't see it there?
The ones that she called me for additional approval are not on here.
There's 2 Aragons on precinct 4.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Do you know if it was,
Those are probably mine.
okay. The report may have been printed, because this report was printed at 11:46.
Never mind. Yep, those 2 are mine. But if he wants to pay for them, that's fine.
I will confirm that she changed it. It's just that the report was printed probably before she called you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. I make a motion that we approve the bills as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Perdola, second by Commissioner Martin, that we approve the bills as presented. Are there any more questions, additions, deletions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approved them.
We made a mess though and
And
everything.
then, Ms. Eva, I'll take Commissioner Wiley's stuff to his box.
Okay. Okay, moving right along to agenda item number 18, adjournment at 10:35.